another Solid Gold podcast.
It is so lovely to have been seeing blue skies here in Johannesburg again, and that there are some robots working. Sorry, traffic lights for those people who don't know what a robot is and don't have those funny little things running around in the street. And of course to see the beautiful face of the lovely Jenni Baxter in Antibes in front. You are in Antibes. I'm just trying to look at your background to see where you are. At home in Antibes in France. How are you doing, Jen?
Hey, Mal, I'm doing fine. We've also got a little bit of sun. And how are you? How's all the load shedding been? We just keep reading about it.
I'm just going to keep positive, and I am wearing my favorite T-shirt, which
what is it?
if you're watching our YouTube, it says I'll tell you what it says, and it's my favorite T-shirt, by the way. Ek is jammer om van jou kak te hoor. So that is where I'm going today. Okay, I'm just going out and about and helping people wherever I can who haven't had, if you don't have power for 5 days or 3 days or whatever, it gets a little bit kind of wearing. So there's all the
But the good news is you got power yesterday.
Go with it. Yes, we had power. Yes, I got some washing done, and it was a beautiful sunny day with a little bit of a breeze, so everything got dried, so life was good, and I got to do some work as well, which is fabulous. So, we take our small pleasures where we can, but it's the concomitant problems that happen when, if your power goes down here in Johannesburg. The backlog of faults is so ridiculous that when you don't come back on after a 4-hour load shedding block, and if in their infinite wisdom, many security companies have decided to go and lock up all the substations and the transformers and things, which means that the city power officials and workers can't get onto those properties or into that particular box because they don't have keys, and then the security company can't find the keys. Apparently they're supposed to have them, but they don't. Then you get put to the bottom of the list, and they go and do all other stuff, and that means another day that you don't have power, when all it would take is for somebody to unlock it and tip up a switch, which happens all too
maybe
often
some
in our
spare
area.
keys. I don't know if you saw, but actually Australia, they have a smart traveller thing just like South Africa does, where any Aussie travellers can just look on the government website for the latest guidelines on various countries, and they have issued an alert for South Africa because of the load shedding, and just said they kind of had like statistics there about how much crime increases during load shedding, particularly in shopping centres apparently. So and they've got some great guidelines. Just, they're not saying don't go to South Africa at all, but just, be prepared, have some perishables with you that don't need a fridge kind of thing. Make sure you've got
we had to throw all of the stuff in the freezer away, which is just like such a, it's a bit of a waste. So none of us in our area now are actually even like going and buying food to keep in the freezer because, we're just worried that we're just going to have no power again for 4 or 5 days, which is problematic. But, it's also, we still, as I keep saying, we still have it so much better than so many other people in this country, because at least we still have the wherewithal and a roof over our heads. And as I was saying, it was so nice to have blue skies again. And I think a lot of people might have been feeling, oh, thank goodness I'm not being rained on for a change. So I do think, I was sitting there, and we also had a meeting for our area because of various problems. And with our dear friend Darren Bergman, who we have spoken to so often here, who does a lot of good for South Africa. And I just turned around and said, you know what? We cannot expect people to do anything for us anymore. Okay? Obviously, when it comes to things like electricity, we can't go messing around with it. But if it's potholes, if it's this, that, and the other, don't expect somebody else to be reporting it. Report it yourself. If there's an issue, if you see that street lights are out, go and take down the details, get hold of your area representatives, and get them to, take it on. If you see that there are no street names, okay, go and get some spray paint. I just saw the best TikTok this morning of these guys who've been driving around with, like, they've got 1,000 tins of spray paint, and they're going and they're putting, like here in South Africa, we can report to the Pothole Patrol, which is run by Discovery and Dial Direct, and they come and they fill the potholes. So these guys are going and they're circling the potholes with white paint and then putting ANC in the same way that Dial Direct or Discovery would go and put their names on the road where they fixed it. They're now saying wherever it's broken, they've actually put ANC, thank you very much, which I thought was very funny.
Very smart. Did you see the video that went totally viral? Brilliant. South African safari. It's a
Yes,
comedian,
I did
Temba
watch part of
Robin.
it, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and and it's all about going on safari, all the South African potholes, but done with David Attenborough's voice, saying this, this soul pothole, because it's asexual, it can multiply and become a
Yes.
family.
Oh gosh, that was
and
very
everything.
funny.
It was
Got a
so
whole
good.
family of
And then
potholes.
and then he wrote to SA people saying thank you for posting it and blah, blah, blah. But he said a really lovely thing, which was, it is sad, it's funny and sad all at the same time, but that honestly, if the country can laugh together, then it can find solutions together. So
But this is what I'm saying, that everybody needs to actually come together. We by now, I think that we should have realized that nobody's going to do this stuff for you. And I think that a lot of people's frustration is because nothing's getting done. So my solution is to go and do something, because it will make you feel better. It makes you feel that you're back in control of something. Find somebody who needs some help and go and help them. It doesn't matter if it's your next door neighbor, somebody 3 streets away, somebody who's begging on the corner. Do something to make a difference. Okay, don't just sit there like a lot of the people in our area. They're just like, oh, well, I'm not going to do it because I pay my rates and taxes, and therefore why should I have to do this stuff? And I'm just like, you know what, guys, with that kind of attitude, I'm not going to help you. That's for sure.
yeah, you're right.
But anyhow, but I mean, as you can see, I'm like kind of like, it gets, as I said, I think before, that the only time it really, really freaks me out is when the traffic lights go out. Because people here are just so irritated and so stressed and so anxious, and they just don't take any of the rules of the road seriously anymore. And I find that, if you come to a robot which is out, stop. No, people go flying straight through it. So from that point of view, you lekker people. But that's the only time that I get really freaked out. So I just try not to go on the roads when there's load shedding. Which is all the time.
Which is a lot. You can start walking everywhere.
But talking about roads, I know that they're closing off some roads down in Cape Town, and oh my word, I wish I was down there, because of course they've got the Cape Town E-Prix happening, and of course, me and my racing, I miss racing. I have to be honest, I would love to do it again, but my children turned around and said, after they saw what I used to get up to, no, you're never doing that again because we want you to stay alive. And I suppose they had a point there, but I really do miss it. But it's not the same as the good old days of Group N. And somebody reminded me yesterday, because there's also the 9 hour happening, and I did a few 9 hours and 7 hours and 6 hours. And of course, Clive Rice, the great cricketer who also then went into racing at the same time I was racing, and he was in Class D, I think, and I was in Class C. We did those races together, so it was a nice little trip down Melanie Lane. I've changed it now. It's Melanie Lane.
But I love that. I saw that on Facebook. But I do think, you could still go to the 9 hour one at Kyalami this weekend. There's still the vibe, and I think that you'll be pleasantly surprised that there's some good stuff happening today in 2023 as well.
No, it's fantastic. Especially this one in Cape Town is brilliant. What's going on
brilliant.
there?
But Ted Buerta went and took a whole bunch of photos. He said he's never seen anything so big in South Africa. So many people being employed. It's all about renewable energy, raising awareness and everything. And so that is going to be
they should have been doing it in Cape Town, not in Cape Town, in Joburg, because the Cape Town people have got a handle on that. Joburg people just don't have a clue. They should have been at Kyalami, man.
Yeah. But then Kyalami, at least there'll be the 9 hour, the Kyalami 9.
But then obviously Ted never
hours.
went to, in the good old days, to Kyalami, in the days when the actual original Formula One Grand Prix used to come to South Africa. I remember watching René Arnoux and Elio De Angelis, and I was 14, and I was completely in love with all these racing drivers, and I got to go and see the behind the scenes things because my father was the president of one of the Lions clubs here in Joburg, so I got to see all of this stuff. It was great. I loved it.
Yeah.
Blood, you get this amazing energy. So I hope that is what happens in Cape Town with this E-Prix, Formula E race.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah. I wonder if they go
I
as
think
fast
the whole
as
city's
Formula One.
excited. And then also like a big shout out to Wade Young, the hard enduro racer, South African. So he's just been on such a roll. I think in November he won Roof of the World. And then this year already, he's won 2 races. The 2 races that he's been in so far, he's won. They were in France. So, yeah.
No, we have a wonderful culture
racing.
of fantastic racing drivers on 2 wheels and 4. Of course, all I want to do is go and race a truck in the Dakar.
And you will.
I will. That will happen one day. Definitely. Okay, so that now we could sit and wax loquacious about racing cars and big races and past things and Jodie Scheckter and, all of that stuff. But maybe we should get on to what news do you have in from expats?
Really exciting news. Pretty Yende, she's the soprano singer who, New York, Paris, she's the toast of town. King Charles has invited her to sing, to do a solo at his coronation in May. Yeah, well, Buckingham Palace sent the invitation. So that's really, like she said, she just has no words. She's so excited. It's just such an honor.
Bentley. That's probably what her actual name is, even though she's called Pretty. Ntom Bentley, which means pretty. I think that's fantastic. You go, girl. You go. That's brilliant. That is really,
so
really
great.
Cool to hear.
And then also for expats, there was an article that was really popular, touched a nerve with many people, and we've spoken about this topic before. The article was called Mom, You're Cancelled. And it's, when your parents drop you like hot potatoes. Or, sorry, when your children drop you like a hot potato. So it happens within South Africa, but it also happens when children move abroad and then they get a new life and kind of forget about their parents. And then in South Africa itself, it's marrying somebody else, and then the new person doesn't really want to go to the old parents so much or whatever. And
so like what's been happening from time immemorial.
Yeah. But now with more South Africans moving abroad, it's just become an even bigger topic. And Mia was saying, Mia who wrote it, who you seem to know, Mia Ziervogel.
She's a photographer. Yeah, Ziervogel, yeah.
Yeah.
She's a really
amazing.
Kind of amazing photographer and curator. And I hate, I don't use that word lightly. She has these amazing this amazing ability to curate really amazing stuff when it comes to visual, which I like a lot.
Well, you know what else she does, which I just love, is she's now writing, and everything, she has a website called Dossier. And everything that she writes, she finds what action you can take. So it's not just an interesting article. It's also got steps that people can take to make whatever that topic was better. So with this topic, she's got videos and organizations to call and everything. Because she said she was in a pharmacy in Hyde Park, and the lady in front just took so long. And when she got to the counter, she said, "Have I told you this, Mal?"
No.
No?
Was she telling the person her story because she had nobody to talk to?
Exactly. So when Mia got to the counter, Mia said, "Oh, that lady took a long time." And the teller said, or the owner, said, she's got nobody else. She comes here for a conversation, basically. Her family moved abroad. Her children moved abroad. And she said, I'd rather talk to her than actually my paying customers because she needs me more. So beautiful. People like that.
I think it's something that I've kind of noticed for many, many years, the people who are all on their own and they have no one to talk to. And that's why I spend, wherever I go, whenever I have any interaction with anybody, be it a teller in a supermarket, and it drives my kids mad, okay? But I always make a point of interacting in a positive way with every single person I come across. Unless, of course, they're driving badly, then I'm going to actually take it into my own hands, go rip off their arm and hit them with the wet end if they do something which is wrong, because it's the only thing that they'll understand. But apart from that, no, it's always, I try, it used to be there was a couple of older men who sat there and decided to start a business for men over 65, so they could feel worthwhile again. And we did a whole lot of stuff with Dr. D, the psychologist, about how middle-aged white men in South Africa are some of the loneliest people in the world.
Yeah.
Or maybe probably like all over the world. But
Yeah.
it was that nobody has time for anybody else or people to talk to, and you never know what people are going through. So I'll happily sit and talk to people, and if I can make a difference in that person's day, fantastic. And
You know
everybody should
what's
do it.
lovely
It goes back
here?
to doing it yourself.
Yeah. What's lovely here is that you get like boule, so it doesn't cost anything. It's there, you know, next to the beach or whatever, where now women as well, but you know, elderly people go and all play together. And in Greece, what you see a lot is, you know, men playing tavli or cards or whatever. And there's a big coffee culture as well. I just think it helps with loneliness.
Yeah, I think unfortunately we've become very polarized in the big cities here in South Africa. And it's very difficult for a lot of people who don't have friends or family, as you said. Anyway, so well done to you, Mia. Go and read that article, people. Mom, you are cancelled. Have you got it up on sapeople.com?
We have. And talking about parents, Richard E. Grant, you know, the actor from Eswatini, which formerly Swaziland, he just did a brilliant hosting of the BAFTA Awards in London. I love how South Africans, remember Trevor Noah last week for the Grammy Awards was the host.
Yes.
Now Richard E.
Taking
Grant
over the
in
world,
England.
one person at a time.
So cool. So Richard E. Grant caught everybody's attention, and not only was he really good at hosting, but he was wearing 2 watches, and people were like on Twitter going, am I seeing things? Is Richard E. Grant wearing 2 watches? And it turns out that he always wears 2 watches because the one is on British time, and the other one was a gift from his father who passed away. Yeah, and it's on Eswatini time, which is South African time. Aww. So he always knows. Isn't that sweet?
Richard Esterhazy. Oh, brilliant guy. Love him to bits. All right, what else have we got? Oh, you got something here about Portsmouth. What's going on there?
It's you know the very tragic sinking of the ship 106 years ago. In the First World War, there were 647. Yeah, South African though.
Okay.
So it was early in the morning, and they were on their way to France to support the Allied forces. 647 mainly black South Africans from the labor force, and this big ship that was double their size crashed into them. And so 647 of them drowned. And yesterday was the anniversary. And so the Portsmouth, the memorial is in Portsmouth because obviously, as you know, it's a port city there.
My hometown.
It's looking so beautiful. Because Ronelle van Zyl, a South African expat who takes a lot of photographs in England for us, she was there, she lives there, and so she took some photos. There was a beautiful service with the mayor of Portsmouth. And then the memorial itself, the memorial stone, it's got that beautiful quote from the Reverend who was on the ship as it was sinking. And he shouted out to the people, come on, don't be scared. We're doing what we came here to do. We came to die, and just like basically accept it. And we're all brothers. I'm Zulu, you're Basotho, whatever, Pondo, Swazi, whatever. But we're all brothers together. We've all left our assegais in Africa, but we still got our voices. And so they sang as they sank. They sang in unison. It's beautiful.
No, sorry, I actually feel like bursting into tears on that. That's so lovely. Well, not lovely,
really
but I mean,
inspiring,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he, I mean, what a patriot! So there was that yesterday, that memorial. On happier news, a lot of South Africans have been in Germany this week because it's been the Berlinale, the Berlin International Film Festival, and there was Stelio Savante, who, if you play Call of Duty video game, he's the South African voice. I think the character's called Ajax.
Okay.
Yeah, this
did
like
not know that.
specialist guy. But he's been in some bigger, greater movies, but everybody knows him because of Ajax, because of the video game. So he had 3 films there that he's produced and starred in. And one of them, interestingly, was Anne Heche's last film before she tragically passed away. It's called What Remains. I haven't seen the film, but it was there in the market.
Okay, and where can we see that?
Not yet, but it'll be during the year they'll be distributed. That's why he was at the market there, or not him personally, but that's why the 3 films were there. They're at the market getting bought up. So as soon as we know, we'll let you know.
Excellente. That'll be quite good to see. Right, so we've talked about potholes enough. We've talked about all kinds of, all the bad stuff, so that's all done and dusted. World Pangolin Day. Did you see about the pangolin? Where was the pangolin that was saved? And then the one gave birth to a pangolin.
That's the one I wanted to tell you about.
Is it, what do they call him? A
Yeah.
puggle? No?
No, they call him a pango pup.
Pango pup.
Except,
So
my note says mango, but it's pango. That's
a mango pup.
autocorrect.
Remember when we were young, we used to take mangoes and eat them. They were still the ones with the hairy. You'd get the mangoes that had the hair on the pip, and we'd eat them, and then we'd wash our mango pips, and then we'd have little brushes, and we could make little glucks out of it. Do you remember glucks?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, and glucks,
But
and
what
we
do
put
you mean
eyes
used
onto
to
our mango
have?
pips.
What do you mean used to have? We still get some mangoes like that.
Oh, I haven't had one of those mangoes with hair in it for years.
Oh, really?
No.
I would
love
send you one.
mangoes.
Yeah, I love mangoes.
Oh, they're just, when we walk into a grocery and you smell when the ripe mangoes are in there. It's like walking into a wall of deliciousness. I could just sit there all day. But I might look a bit odd just standing there and sniffing loudly the whole time.
You know, Cassie loved them. Cassie loved them so much that she ate so many she became allergic to them.
No.
On Christmas Day, yeah, the worst thing. And now she can't even have a little bit in her juice, nothing.
Oh, no.
So don't have too many
horrible.
mangoes.
All right,
Yeah.
so we've talked about the South African safari, the pothole safari.
Yeah.
I see that you put here about the Durban heat lightning, because of course it's been so hot in so many areas in the country, and of course it's flooding on the Vaal, and they've been having to open up the sluice gates on the Vaal River, and I know some people have had to actually evacuate their homes on the Vaal and move into a place, and it was like knee deep in water. So, I mean, this is a country of extremes, man. And then I saw that you had a picture up about somebody had taken a long exposure of the lightning flashes over the sea somewhere down on the
Amazing.
coast.
Christo Smith. So he takes lots of photos, and then it gets, there's a word that it becomes a composite image. He overlays them.
I was going to say he amalgamates them.
But yeah, you know, Durban had like 43 degrees, which is the hottest in living memory kind of thing. So it was pretty hectic. But his photos made up for it. Gee. And then I know he's not your favorite, Kevin Hart, but he had such a brilliant tour in South Africa.
I have been following it, and I saw that Trevor Noah was there. I saw when he went to he was a surprise guest at a school somewhere, and some of the kids knew that he would be popping onto the stage, but nobody else knew, and he arrived at some big prize giving that he was doing. So I like it that he's been getting down on the ground with people and not, doing the usual "I'm a celebrity, get me out of here."
But he doesn't. You've got to actually watch the show on Netflix. He is the most down to earth, amazing. If you want to learn about love, he's somebody to watch.
Do you think I haven't learned enough about it already at my age?
No, I find some of the things he says are just like little nuggets. But yeah, he said, and he's done a lot of shows around the world, and he said when Trevor Noah was on stage and the audience wasn't expecting it, and Trevor Noah went on stage in Pretoria to introduce him, he said he has never heard such a loud applause anywhere. So there was that beautifully proud South African moment of, oh, it's Trevor, our guy, back in SA.
Yeah, as I'm sure you know, one of my twins is a complete Trevor Noah fanatic. He's her hero, in fact, but she got it the wrong way around once, and it sounded like she thought that Trevor Noah was like. But she is like anything and everything he does. I think she's probably his most steadfast fan. She absolutely adores him, and he is wonderful. And we're very, very lucky that we have so many amazing people, as we've already said, coming out of our country.
Yes, absolutely. And Sia Kolisi also gave him a Springbok jumper as well.
Oh, say good morning to your cat for me.
And then he wants my water. And then if you're in Cape Town, please head to Newlands on Friday evening. It's the Women's T20 World Cup. It's been really exciting, and South Africa has made it through to the semi-final. So semi-finals are on Thursday and Friday night, but South Africa, if you want to watch South Africa, that's Friday night.
So that is a very good reason to get to to Cape Town as well. Two different things, sports-wise, in one weekend in Cape Town. I think we should all move down there. Well, they do reckon that there's going to be at least 1 million people who are going to be moving down to the Cape this year.
Wow. I see a lot on Facebook. You see all the time.
Yep. I'm a Joburg girl, though, so, it's going to take me a while to get out of here, to be honest. Okay,
Maybe you won't. Maybe you'll stay.
Anyway, we were talking about pangolins and pango pups, and we didn't get onto what the story was about.
Just how wonderful that Corey had been caught by poachers, and then the poachers were caught, Corey, and the poachers were caught, and they rescued Corey. Then after Joburg Wildlife Vet did all their good stuff, Corey and some other pangolin were released into the wild, but with cameras at strategic spots. And that's how they noticed that this little rescued pangolin has now given birth to a little pango pup that was clinging onto her back. And they've seen her again, I think last weekend or something. So they're both doing well, mom and baby, which is very exciting.
Oh, by the way, I know...
it's the most poached mammal in the world.
I know, and there's absolutely no reason for it at all. And my daughter is very, very lucky to have actually seen one at night when she was on her what do you call that thing that you... Oh, course. She was on her course becoming a nature guide. I don't know if you did see, and if you've put it on yet, about the... Paul Herbst, the director of Media Response in KZN, who was over with Gift of the Givers in Turkey. I'm sorry, I'm still calling it Turkey because I don't know what the actual pronunciation is these days. Turkiya or whatever, but it's Turkey, so people understand what I'm talking about. Still don't know what happened to him, but he
passed away.
He passed away just after getting back from his rescue mission over there. And so I would just like to say to all of those people who are fighting for people, aiding people, whether they are paramedics, especially in this country because it's hectic, the people who are helping animals, the people who are giving up their time and everything that they have to go and help other people in other countries as well. Big ups to all of you, and my sincere condolences to all the people who knew Paul and worked with Paul, and sterkte to you all. Okay.
Yeah, I have a feeling that he was actually near Salt Rock.
Yeah, I think it might have been up that time.
Yeah.
Shame, man. Okay, so let's get on to something that might bring a smile to some people's faces. I know that Dam,
yeah,
has started again on Showmax, season 2, and you can binge watch the first season as well. I, of course, have got 3 people who asked me in the last week, what was that South African crime drama that you were raving about? It's called Donkerbos, don't forget. That's available.
And you can binge watch that.
You can binge watch that now as well. It's fantastic. Yeah. So what else is there that we can watch?
And we've got like interviews with different actors from DAM, also DAM. On SA People, if you want to know more about them and the filming and everything. Then also just a young South African girl had her coming of age film having its European premiere in Berlin this week. It's called Mirror Mirror, and it's in English and Xhosa, and apparently really good, really real, and funny. And then we've got the trailer for Stellar Murders, which is a crime documentary, also Showmax, and based on a true story you might remember, where two best friends died in their hostel and apparent suicide. But it turned out that actually it was murder. So, and it's the same guys who did Devil's Door.
Oh, that's
so you know
that's quite a thing, yeah.
That's going to be powerful. And then I went and checked out Kings of the World that you told me to check out last week.
Kings of Joburg.
Yeah, but I thought you said Kings of the World, and that's Colombia.
No, but Kings of Joburg.
Kings of Joburg, and it's season 2 that's just started, and it's actually in the top 5 on Netflix at the moment in South Africa. So
it looks pacey and fun, but I'm still got to get my act together to go and watch Reka, which I actually would like to.
Yeah,
it's Kim
totally.
Engelbrecht, yeah, so I'd like to see that.
But now on that, it's Kings of Joburg, but there's a supernatural family curse, so then that immediately kicks me out, because that's
there were some things that we watched which were done by really good people, and I thought, oh, this is going to be fantastic, and then it went and you carried on watching, and then it devolved into vampires and zombies. And I can't remember what the name of the series was. That's how much it actually annoyed me. And I was really cross with the person who suggested it on Facebook. Oh, you should watch this. I think we discussed it about a year ago.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'll tell you what. I will watch it and I'll let you know.
Okay, you be the sacrificial viewer.
I'm the sacrificial everything.
But I mean, it's got to be good for it to be.
I'll take one for the team.
Yeah. Thanks, Mal.
Okay, so what have you got coming up that's going to be making the headlines on sapeople.com next week?
Well, maybe not headlines, but just really enjoyable and feel good. Is we've got a story from Woes and Friends. We did post it on Facebook, and it was so popular that now we're going to have some more information for people, because people were just begging for more info about Hazel, this 79-year-old lady who it takes her about 3 months to make 6 baskets. They're like woven, weaved, whatever you...
Woven, yes.
Woven. And they tell a story. You know those African baskets? They're so beautiful. So I mean, and she's just... so we had a photo with her and some of the baskets, and everybody wants to know more. So we're going to have all that up and how people can get them themselves, and support Woes who... I don't know if you remember, but they support so many people in KwaZulu-Natal, people who are victims of flood or whatever. They're one of the best organizations to donate to. And then we have another light-hearted story about Stompolina, who is an eland who thinks he's a dog, or she's a dog. So...
Okay, that's just weird.
It's really cool. There's some lovely videos, and it's,
Okay, well, that's all sounds. I mean, I troll when I have power, and I don't have an inverter, and I don't have solar, and I don't have a generator, so I'm pretty much, I have a little inverter thing that gives me a bit of power to my Wi-Fi. So eventually, occasionally I can have a look at what's happening in the world. But I'm quite happy being locked away from it a lot of the time. So I do rely on you to keep me updated with what's happening, I have to say. And of course, I rely on the rest of the people in South Africa to get me going. And most of the rest of the time, what I'm doing is running around the streets trying to help people.
Good girl.
Can you see my halo? Look, it's nice and bright today. No, I'm joking. I'm not that altruistic. It makes me feel good. That's why I do it. Anyhow, Jenny, enjoy your day. Go and have a look at the sea for me while I'm stuck here in Joburg staring at like grey buildings. And of course, we will catch up with you again next week. And for those people who have been listening all the way through, don't forget, of course, that you can also share your positive stories with us. And maybe we'll talk about you too. We'll catch you again next week. Jenny, take care, darling.
Thank you. Bye.
And we'll see you next time.
Another production from Solid Gold Podcasts.